is needed and is extremely important with agencies, ministries, and organizations that are providing services to those in need. It truly takes a village to help everyone and just to provide that shoulder and that ear to listen to them to see what their need is. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Reverend Linda Ivey, the Executive Director and Founder for Your Destiny is Here Incorporated. Welcome to the show, Reverend. Reverend Ivey, tell me a little bit about your ministry and what inspired you to start your ministry.
Well, first, thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and talk about Your Destiny is Here Incorporated. I was inspired to start this organization for two reasons. One, my background as a social worker and my background as a minister. In both of those roles, I was able to see that people had challenges. And in the process of trying to move past these challenges, some people were successful when they had opportunities, inspiration, resources. And as a social worker, I did it professionally, and I had the backing of the city of Philadelphia and all the resources that went with working as a social work supervisor at the Department of Human Services. As a minister, of course, I had the backing of Almighty God, and so we were able to speak to people and address people's issues spiritually. And as time progressed, I wanted to do something individually. I wanted to make a change. I wanted to stop being a bystander and actually get involved. And so I created Your Destiny is Here Incorporated. And with that, our goal is to be to identify grassroots individuals who are making a difference in their community, and then connecting with them through my board to see whatever they need, how we can help and how we can provide.
Okay. Now, Reverend, you were, as you said, a social worker with the Department of Human Services.
Yes.
And you were helping children.
Yes.
Who were exploited.
Yes.
Abandoned. Now,
yes.
With that actually opened your eyes that there are so many people in need, and that's the reason, also another important reason why you started your ministry.
Absolutely, absolutely. That unfortunately there are adults who have untreated trauma, and that means they've had experiences in their lives that were devastating, traumatic, and they never got the opportunity to process it and have it be addressed and to heal. So if I have untreated trauma, I'm going to connect with someone else who has that same kind of trauma and become parents. And as parents, if you have untreated trauma, it spills over into your situation in your family life. And so you have parents who are traumatized raising children in an impaired state. So consequently, we saw a lot of neglect and unfortunately a lot of abuse as well. And I'm sure in Northwest Victim Services, you're constantly addressing those things in gun violence, because again, these are children who grow up, and then when they grow up, their perception of life, their perception of right and wrong, that I know that's simplifying it, but that's the easiest way I can explain it, that they're impaired, so they go out and react. That everything's a reaction. So absolutely. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you see these things, and after a while you get to see the pattern. So Your Destiny is Here Incorporated tries to say, okay, What can we do to help people when they're at that crossroads? When they're at that crossroads where they can go either way, what can we do to inspire them? What can we do to give them resources to make them think, you know what? I don't have to do this. I can do better. I can connect with people who are supportive to me. Absolutely.
That's excellent. That is excellent. Now, how did you get your word out, or how do you get your word out about your ministry?
Well, we are new. My organization was started in 2019. And so initially I was in the really starting phase of it. I wanted to, get the goal and mission and become incorporated and do all the administrative things that needed to be done. And then, and working with Northwest Victim Services as well. And then I realized that I'm one person, and that was a shock to me, that I'm just one person and I'm not Superwoman. And so I got an advisory board, an amazing advisory board. And my advisory board is able to get the word out about your destiny is here and our goals and what we try to do. My advisory board covers all ages, all sexes, all backgrounds. And so we have people who are very young, Gen X, millennials, as well as seasoned individuals, middle life, seniors. We have artists, we have single parents, we have people who are in recovery. We just cover, thank you, God. My advisory board covers the spectrum of people out in the community. And so consequently, they've been very effective in getting the word out. And what they are is they are the eyes and ears of your destiny is here. And so when they, in their own genres, when they see situations or opportunities, they bring it back to the organization. And then we discuss it, and they, as the advisory board member, tell us the best way to impact the individual or the organization. So it has become very effective, and I am so excited because we were in the process of completing our first year with our advisory board, and we're just really getting momentum. And so I know my second year will be off the charts. I'm just very, very excited.
I'm sure your second year will be off the chart as well, because I'm calling you.
Yes.
All of viewers who do not know, Reverend Ivey and I have been knowing each other for about 15 years, 14 or 15 years, and I reached out to Reverend Ivey June 29th, 2020, because I was servicing a mother who lost her son to gun violence in the city of Philadelphia. However, she resides in Indianapolis, and she needed a round trip ticket to be able to attend the funeral of her son. So I reached out to Reverend because I know she works for one of the airlines, and I'm saying, does one of the airlines have something for those in need? And Reverend Ivey just jumped right in and said, listen, I have this ministry, and we will be more than happy to assist that mom. And they purchased a round trip ticket for mom to be able to come to fellowship with her family and to be able to attend her son's funeral and then return home. Reverend Ivey, I am so grateful because, as you know, there are so many victims that are in need. And I have been calling Reverend Ivey. I can pick your email when you said, listen, your Destiny Incorporated has been, we're happy that we were able to service the victim, and we'll work with you in 2023, I don't know, 2020.
Yes.
Now, we're going to be connected. So, Reverend, how do you get your funding, and is there a cap for one agency that you're working with or corporation that you're, how do you get your funding?
Well, at this point, because we're in the early stages, right now, you're looking at your Destiny is Here's funding source. So that, so that's where we are right now. And again, we're new, and so we're looking to move, to expand, and to be able to have take in funding from different sources. Our advisory board has also been very generous as well. And so at this point, it's a slow process, and the way we start with a budget, as with any organization, and as we see the need, we address the need. And also with the funding cap, we're looking at, we just completed how we want to move forward with dividing certain amounts of money for maintenance for the organization as well as for other organizations. You can rest assured that at this point, Northwest Victim Services has been the largest recipient of our grants. And we love working with you. You and your organization do an amazing job for the city of Philadelphia. It's sad that there will always be a need, but I pray that at some point there won't have to be a Northwest Victim Services for gun violence. We pray for that. So.
Yeah, and I hear you. And Reverend, I reach out to you when it's like dire need.
Yes, yes.
For a victim, for lost wages, unpaid medical bills, or funeral expenses.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there are a whole lot of victims out there that are strapped financially.
Yes.
Like right now, we're working with a victim, and this victim is now homeless because he's afraid to go home because the threat is right in the apartment building that he's in. So I called Reverend Ivey, and again, no hesitation, just jumped right into action. I really appreciate that. Now, I did see in your bio that your destiny is here incorporated, has a partnership with Women Against Abuse.
Yes, yes.
This is key. I deal with domestic violence victims all the time, and it's heartbreaking because they'll contact the hotline and they're seeking shelter, and the shelters are full. How does your agency work with domestic violence victims, men and women?
Well, again, we have an amazing advisory board. And one of our advisory board members is, we have different advocacy programs. And the advisory board member who was in our advocacy program for people experiencing recovery got involved and connected with the shelter, Women Against Abuse shelter, as well as our advisory board members who also work with women and children who have been in abusive situations. And so because they're boots on the ground, they were able to see a need and made the connection and was able to connect with that organization. We've also worked with another social service agency that has connections with different families. And so we had experiences where a mother got a brand new job, and the job required her to work from home, and she needed to have a laptop. So we were able to make a financial grant toward that. We also had a family that needed, the same family children were sleeping on the floor. In our efforts to work with one situation, when people see that you're sincere, they'll share other things with you as well. Right. And so we were able to buy bunk beds for the children. So we've been, again, my advisory board has been amazing in connecting with people in their community and come back and say, this is what I've seen out in the community. This is what these individuals need. Let's do it. And so that's our process. Our process is not necessarily to come and vote yay or nay, but more so to say, give us some background, tell us what we can do. Because as you know, it's not always give them some money. Sometimes it's give them resources, give them support, give them the opportunity to connect with people. As you shared with the mother who needed to fly into Philadelphia. She didn't need the money. She needed airline tickets because her life was busy. So if someone could take care of that, I can just pack my bags and go. And so that's what we've been able to do. And that's how one of the ways we connected with Women Against Abuse and the other community agencies and individuals within the community.
Right. Now, I had like the saddest case on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say at 3-something. Mm-hmm. So not everybody works until 5 o'clock on Friday, which is fine. I get it. And not everybody works on the weekend like I do. Fine, I get it. But it's heartbreaking when these cases come to me on a Friday. And I didn't call you for this one. So here I have a domestic violence victim, female victim, who is physically abused and has been for a whole week. That whole week. She was able to get out of the house. She goes down to family court. I think she got down to family court around 3:45. Mm-hmm. He told her there's no more judges. You can't get the PFA here, the protection from abuse.
Wow.
So they tell her to go over to the Criminal Justice Center, and they start at 5 o'clock.
Wow.
So here it is, you have this female domestic violence victim just walking around downtown, scared out of her mind that her abuser is going to come and get her. Mm-hmm. He took her ID, he took her money, he took her cards, he took everything. So here she is, and she was able to connect with one of her friends' mother, who got her downtown. Mm-hmm. She called the domestic violence hotline, and they indicated to her we're closed.
Wow.
That's all they said. So then I called, and the gentleman that I spoke with, he was nice enough to tell me that someone contracted COVID to shut down the shelter.
Oh, wow.
So kind of stuff, Reverend, that just breaks my heart, where I'm saying to myself, what is this young lady going to do for the weekend? Mm-hmm. She can't go back home because that's an abusive situation. And our system has this gap in it. Mm-hmm. And it's real. So this is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with those victims on a Friday at 3:45, at 4 o'clock. This is the kind of stuff where, like, your destiny is here, incorporated is so crucial to Northwest Victim Services or other agencies. When we're like, okay, how are we going to find some kind of solution for this victim? So, and it boggles my mind. There are so many abandoned buildings in the city of Philadelphia.
Oh, talk about it. Oh my gosh.
Those shelters. Or make them into low-income apartments for people in need.
Yes.
I'm confused, Reverend.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, Melany, you have hit such a tender spot in my heart. And the situation is dire anyway. And those and working in social work, we would see those kinds of problems and those kinds of circumstances. And then this pandemic has just made everything worse to the 10th power. Because again, as you just said, you have resources that are strained anyway. And now you have staff who are, if they're sick, we have to shut things down. If people, as you just said, if someone comes in and everyone in the shelter gets sick, okay, we can't let any more people in. Some people have to leave because they're so sick. And it's just a hard time for those of us who are in social services or those of us who have a heart for people in crises. It makes me wonder, and I would say to myself, God, why now? You know, of all the time for me to create an organization that helps people. Why couldn't you give me this inspiration 2 years before so we didn't have COVID? Or, and even coming out now that we're supposed to be coming out of COVID, but now we're hit with the Delta strain. So, but the word says that you were created for such a time as this. So I have to fall back on that and say, this is the time that people need to have connections. People need to have someone reach out in the midst of these kinds of situations. And that's one of the reasons I want to commend my board, as well as people like you, who, in spite of all that's going on globally, because unfortunately, this is not just a Philadelphia situation, this is a global situation, that despite the pandemic, despite the fear, despite the shortages, despite the lack of resources, people like you and my board members continue to move forward. They continue to do everything they can. We have board members who have opened up, we have pastors who have opened up their churches to give, to collect for shoes, to host, giving out vaccines, continue to give out food, to continue to visit people in the hospital in the situations that they can. I mean, my board members are fearless, and I appreciate them so much because they have the same heart for people as I do, like you. And it's always a double blessing, and you really admire them because they're not getting paid. So they're truly doing it from your heart. And not to and it's not to negate or minimize what you do because you're getting paid, because you work above and beyond. And as you said, you're there on Fridays, Saturdays, you're accessible all the time. You are a hands-on director. You're not up in the ivory tower, and you know that we have you on our prayer list. We pray for you every week at prayer service because of the work you do and the pressure and tug on your heart that kind of work does. So, we got you covered, girl. We got you covered.
I appreciate it. I want to be clear about something. Now, I'm a nonprofit, so I'm not getting paid corporate money.
Yeah, exactly. You mean, wait a minute, you don't have a house in the Bahamas?
Okay, so I live in West Oakland, born in West Oakland. So no, I have a passion for what I do, and I love serving.
Yes.
That's what I will do. I love to serve, and I love to help people.
And I know when the news comes on, your ear is that something that involves me? So it can consume you, but take a breath. In social work, with working with the children and the families, it gets to be, you're never off. You're always, okay, was that my family? That fire, that situation, was that my family? So I'm just saying, think about, it's okay to think about self. All right?
Yeah, I do. Because when I'm riding down the street, no matter where I'm going in the city of Philadelphia, when I see those balloons, when I see those candles,
yes.
That was somebody's baby. That was somebody's sister. That was somebody's brother. So yes, I never turn it off. So I'll ask my last question. What is your long-term goal, and how many people of all ages do you think you will serve by 2023?
Oh my gosh, my long-term goal, I love that question. My long-term goal is to be able to reach people in the tri-state area as well as beyond, because we have a board member who now lives in, I want to say, South Carolina. And so we're willing to do reach out to people in South Carolina if they decide, they're two pastors, if they decide there's an issue, there's a need, we're ready to outreach and do whatever we can in that state. But to be able to have the funds, have the resources, have the vision to be able to reach out and help grassroots people in the tri-state area. And I say grassroots because everyone started from somewhere. When you think of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, when you think about the Megan Law, when you think about the different organizations or different groups that are now national and amazing, they started with some individual sitting around their kitchen table saying, I don't like this. This isn't right. We need to do something about it. So we want to be able to be a resource to people in their infancy stages, because that's the time when it could go either way, where they could say, you know what, this is uphill. I can't do this. I'm by myself. If our board comes back and says, we see a woman who has a dance troupe, and they're having, they want to have a recital. They can't afford a place to have the recital. What can we do? It's small, but it makes a huge difference to that woman who's doing that, to the girls, the boys who are participating, to the families to see their children in a positive light. So whatever we can do with grassroots individuals, we're more than willing to help out. And that's my goal, to be able to say to everyone, okay, let's do this. Because right now, with the budget we have, you know, we're crossing our fingers to have enough money for activities at the end of the year, because Christmas, as you know, can be either a great time for people or it can be a struggle and a time to remind people that there's lack and they're disconnected and emotionally overwhelmed. So right now we cross our fingers and we have all kinds of ideas and activities we have scheduled for Christmas. But hopefully my goal is at some point that won't be an issue.
Okay. So Reverend, tell all of viewers how they can make donations to Your Destiny is Here Incorporated.
Yes, we have. I have a website that's LindaJIveyMinistries.com. That's LindaJIveyMinistries.com. And under that ministry, Your Destiny is Here is one of the many ministries that we have under that. And so if that's something that people's hearts are touched and they want to do that, we'd be more than willing to do that. We are a nonprofit, and what we have done when people make a donation, we send out a letter so that they can save it and use it for their taxes. And so not only are they going to be blessed by their generosity, they'll also have something for the tax man also. So, but again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. You know I love you dearly, and I'm praying for you, and I just pray that you continue to do well. You are awesome woman of God, and you're doing a great job, and I just pray that it continues.
Thank you so much. Please make your donation at Your Destiny is Here Incorporated, because Reverend and we are going to make a difference in the lives of so many people.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Reverend, for joining me.
You are more than welcome. Thank you.
If you have resources for victims of crime and you would like to collaborate with a community-based agency, please reach out to me directly, Melany Nelson, the Executive Director for Northwest Victim Services. You can contact me at 267-808-0350. Together, we have to work very hard to be able to serve those in need, especially those people who have untreated traumas. Know that we are here for you. Peace and blessings.